All right, well, for those of you who weren't raised on Intel 8-bit microprocessors like I was, there's sometimes some confusion of how these things used to work. So I did a lot of designs around 8080, 8085, 8051s, 54s, 53s, weird, all kinds of weird 8-bit Intel things. So I was very familiar with all the 8-bit Intel things. I had a lot of 8-bit Intel computers, CPM, S100. That's why my name is IMSAI guy. So anyway, let's talk about ALE, because there seems to be some confusion about what ALE is. So I'm going to be looking at an 8085 data sheet, and I know this is pretty poor here, but you know, if you could bring up your own data sheet sometime. There is some registers inside. This is the block diagram of the 8085. There is a program counter, which is 16-bit. There's a stack counter, which is 16-bit. There's some 8-bit registers that come in pairs, the BC and the DE and the HL. You can use them individually or sometimes as a pair. And then there is a program counter, 16-bit. And then there is a address counter that is a 16-bit address counter. Now, the part doesn't have enough pins, so they bring out 8. They bring out the upper 8, A8 through A15. They bring that out all by themselves. They're over here. But they didn't have enough room to put A0 through A7, so they multiplexed them together. So the data bus is this. So the data bus comes out here, D0 through D7 comes out here, but also A0 through A7 comes out here. They sometimes have an address here, and they sometimes have a data here. It's sometimes data out, and it's sometimes data in. So this port here does a lot of work. It's bidirectional, and it is also multiplexed address data, so that kind of gets confusing. So what do you do with this? Well, you need to synchronize things. If it's a write, you have to use a write signal. If it's a read, you need to use a read signal. If it's an I/O, you need to use an I/O signal. Yeah, the I/O comes out here too. It might be a memory write, or it might be an I/O write or read. Yeah, so this port does a whole bunch. So you need some steering logic, okay? And the steering logic is, let's go ahead and go up a page here. All right, so like I said, the multiplexed address data bus for I/O and memory and everything is let's see, I can zoom out a bit here, are these 8 lines here. Now there's a signal that's given from the microprocessor called ALE, which is address latch enable. And that all by itself can latch that 8-bit address data, and we'll show an example of that. So that's that. There are also some other status lines, S0 and S1 and IO/memory not. So if you're doing IO stuff, port reading and port writing, this line will be high, like in the out command or the in command. If you're just going to read or write from memory, then this line will be low. So this is kind of a steering bit. S0 and S1 are not used very much. In fact, I've never used them at all in any designs, but they are available there. And they give you status of whether you're doing a memory read or write, or an IO read or write, or an opcode fetch, or an interrupt, or halt. Yeah, so S0 and S1 can give you information, but like I said, nobody seems to use it. I never used it. So let's take a look at a timing diagram here, all right? So the clock is going along merrily, and when it goes to do something, you throw out the upper 8 bits of address here. But remember, the address and the other things are multiplexed. So the first part of the cycle, they give out this low order address, A0 through A7, comes out here. The falling edge of ALE says this data is valid. So if you're going to have a latch that latches onto this, you use the falling edge of ALE to do that latching. You don't need any clocks or anything. That would be redundant. You just use the falling edge of ALE, okay? Now, when you're going to do a memory read, you use the rising edge of the not read line. So this is low true logic, this is high true logic ALE. Or if you're going to do a write, you use the rising edge of write, and the data is valid during that time. Now, the ALE falling edge also is guaranteeing that you could also use that as a latch if you wanted to grab S0, S1. So S0, S1 is guaranteed to be valid on the right on the falling edge of ALE. Also, the IO/not memory is also guaranteed to be valid on the falling edge of ALE. Most of the time, that ALE will not be used with a read or a write or an IO. It's just not going to be used there. It's only going to be used for grabbing these lower 8 bits of address. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at it on my machine here. Okay, so I'm going to be using my SDK85, and I have a logic analyzer hooked up to it. So yeah, let's go over to the computer. And you can see here that what I've done is I've done a reset of the microprocessor and told it to latch when it starts seeing things. So this is the startup sequence of the device. So it's running along here, okay? And so the addresses are D0 through D6 here. D5, only D0 to D5. They're down here, okay, and the clock and everything's down there, but we're not going to be looking at those. What we're be interested in is the ALE and the read and the write. So let's talk about ALE first. So on the top line, I'm looking at the ALEs. Now remember I said that the falling edge of ALE is where all the interesting stuff happens. That's when the data is valid for the lower 8 bits of address. Okay, so what we will do is we'll tell this logic analyzer to trigger on the falling edge of ALE and grab the data from D0 through D7, and that should be our address. The way that we do that is we go into analyzers, we go into simple parallel, we can edit that. You say, okay, I want to use D0 through D7, and I'm going to clock on ALE on the falling edge, and then it will get a valid data, which is then displayed here in this little green window here. Okay, so if you look at this ALA signal, the first falling edge, what is the data? 0. The next falling edge, what is the data? 1. And then the next one, 2, 3, 4. So those are actually the lower 8 bits of memory, okay? And so we're just looking almost at the program counter. We're going to be addressing the ROM at this point in time, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the address kind of appears here, okay? And then the read is going to be actual data. So a 3E command is load accumulator. So we're going to load accumulator with 0, and then we're going to load something else with 0, and then we're going to do something with that. I don't remember what these opcodes are. But C3 is a jump. I do know that one. So the C3 command says jump to 0, 1, F1, okay? High 8 bits of 0, 1, low 0, F1. What's our program counter do? What's the address do here? We go to 0, 7, and then boom, the next thing is F1, because that's what we've been told to do. We've been jump to F1. So of course the next address is going to have F1 in the lower 8 bits. So F1, F2, F3, and then it's going to be doing its merry thing here on the F commands, right? And then we can just look at the program here. This is what it's doing in things like. Then we can also look at the write. So here is the write command. You can look here. We're coming along and we're telling it D3, which is a output D. Yeah, I think that's an output to port 20. So this is an I/O port, and indeed the I/O signal here, the I/O is high. When we're giving that write, we're also going to be looking at the I/O memory, and so it is an I/O function, and we're going to be writing to port 20. And so also, when you're writing to ports, the lower address is the port value. So also this ALE grabs that 20 and throws it on the address bus, and then the very next thing is going to be FA, FB. It goes on its merry way. So we're gonna write 20 through 32, FF. Anyway, you get the idea. We can take a look at these reads and take a look at these IOs. There's not many IOs at the beginning here. In fact, in the first section here, we only did this one IO thing to 20. That's setting up the ports to be output ports on the 8755. Anyway, there you go. So anyway, what I wanted to talk about was the use of ALE to clock the address. You can use a 74373 or 573 or your chip of choice, but you're going to be using the falling edge of ALE to capture this data. All right, so that was just a simple example with this little thing here, and I think you can see that we validated our timing diagram here from the data sheet. Yeah, you know, read the data sheet. Look at these graphs on the data sheet, and it tells you the timing relationships of everything. Yeah, you can use ALE for a couple of things.